Chapter 12. The year 1972. Tina's first visit to Đà Lạt. In the year 1972, I was 14 years old, an age balanced delicately between the innocence of childhood and the first stirrings of adulthood. That year, something extraordinary happened in our family, something that brought light, laughter, and joy to our lives in the way nothing else had before. My eldest sister Thanh Tâm had given birth to a baby girl in Saigon. She named her Anh Thư, meaning a heroic woman, but in our family, we affectionately call her Tina. She was the first grandchild of my parents and the first niece for all of us siblings. When my sister announced that she would bring Tina up to Đà Lạt for a visit, the entire household burst with anticipation. It was the first time our parents would meet their granddaughter, and the first time all of us younger siblings would gather around a baby who now represented the next generation of our family. For weeks before their arrival, our home on Yersin Street seemed to brim with energy, as if preparing itself to welcome a new kind of joy. The anticipation. I still remember the days leading up to that visit. My mother busy herself with preparations as if great guests of honor were coming. She cleaned the house thoroughly, polished the wooden furniture until it shone, and even rearranged the family altar so that it looked spatially radiant. She wanted her eldest daughter to feel welcome back, and she wanted her first grandchild to enter the home that was already embraced her. The journey to Đà Lạt, the day finally arrived. My sister, her husband Thông, and little Tina boarded a car in Saigon and made a long trip up to the winding mountain roads to Đà Lạt. I imagine my sister's heart must have been full, carrying her baby daughter back to the place of her childhood, to the home where she had once run as the carefree girl, now returning as the mother herself. Đà Lạt, with its cool mountain air and fragrant pine forest, was a perfect place to receive a child. The journey itself was long, but when the car finally pulled up in front of our house on Yersin Street, I can still see it now. My sister stepping out of the car, cradling a bundle wrapped in soft blanket, her face glowed with pride and a gentle exhaustion. Behind her, her husband carried their bags, and all our eyes were fixed on a tiny form in her arms. Meeting Tina for the first time, for the first moment I lay eyes on Tina is etched in my memory like a photograph. She was so small, smaller than I had imagined, with delicate features that seemed almost too fragile for this world. Her tiny fingers peeked out from the blanket, curling and uncurling as if she tasting the air of Đà Lạt for the first time. Her eyes were open wide, and her lips so red with the beautiful skin, her head nestled against my sister's chest in perfect trust. "This is Tina," my sister whispered, her voice filled with tenderness. My mother gasped softly and hurried forward, reaching out her arms. "Let me hold her for a minute," she said, almost breathless with excitement. My sister carefully placed the baby into our mother's waiting arms, and for that instant I saw my mother transform. She held Tina as though she were holding her treasure more precious than anything in the world. Tears welled in her eyes as she gazed at the tiny face of her granddaughter, Tina. My father stood close by, quiet as always, but his expression gave him away. He leaned down, touched Tina's small hand with one finger and smiled, a smile that carried years of unspoken love and relief. Cháu ngoại đầu tiên của ba má, he said softly. This is my first granddaughter. It's almost as if he's speaking to himself. A house filled with joy. That afternoon, our house became a place of celebration. All of us siblings crowded around, each eager for a turn to see Tina up close. My sister cooed and clapped their hands, and laughter filled the rooms with a way that I had never heard before. I remember when it was finally my turn to hold her, I sat carefully down, my heart pounding as my mother placed Tina into my arms. She was warm and light with the faint scent of baby powder. Her tiny head rested against my shoulder, but for the first time in my life I felt the weight of something beyond myself, the weight of responsibility, of tenderness, of love that had no condition. I looked down at her peaceful face and thought, this little one has changed everything. From that moment, Tina was not just my sister's joy. She became everyone's joy. She belonged to all of us, the center of our affection, the symbol of our family's future. The grandparents' delight. For my parents, Tina's arrival marked their new chapter in their lives. No longer only cha mẹ, they have now become ông bà ngoại. The transition was more than just a title. It was the transformation of the heart. My mother, who had always cared for her own children with unwavering devotion, now poured that same love into her granddaughter. She carried Tina on her hip as she moved around the house, humming lullabies that she had once sung to us. She spoke softly to the baby, telling her stories as if Tina could already understand. My father, though less vocal, showed his joy in quieter ways. He would sit on his chair in the evening, holding Tina in his lap, letting her tiny hands grab his finger. His eyes often stern from years of responsibility, softened in her presence. Watching him, I realized that a grandchild has the power to unlock a gentleness in even the most reserved of men. Tina as a bundle of joy. It is no exaggeration to say that Tina became the sun around which our household revolved. Every small sound she made, every smile, every moment was a source of delight. When she yawned, we all laughed softly. When she cried, we rushed to comfort her. She was more than just a baby. She was hope made visible. She carried within her the promise of a future, the continuation of a family line, a reminder that life is not only about the struggles of the present, but also about the beauty that lies ahead. My reflections at 14. At 14, I was still a girl, yet Tina's presence made me feel older. She gave me a glimpse into the mystery of nurturing life, a caring for someone smaller and more vulnerable than myself. She stirred in me not only the tenderness, but also a sense of creativity. I began to write more letters, more stories, imagining someday I would write a novel inspired by the love that surrounded her. In Tina, I saw not just a niece, but a symbol. She was the bridge between generations, the link that tied us all together in a time we needed unity most. She was a reminder that no matter how complicated the world might seem, there was always room for innocence, for laughter, for new beginnings. Looking back, Tina's first visit to Đà Lạt was one of the happiest moments of our family's history. Our house on Yersin Street, already filled with noise, with many children, now rang with a new kind of joy, the joy of grandparents seeing their first grandchild, for aunts and uncles discovering their new rules of family made whole by the arrival of a baby girl. She was and always will be our bundle of joy. And for me, at 14, she became the memory I treasure most from that year, a memory of warmth, of love, of family gathered together around the cradle with a little girl named Tina who changed everything simply by being born. This is the end of chapter 12, to be continued.